Hi students. So in gravitation topic we discussed introduction and Kepler's laws of motion in the previous video. So we will discuss today universal law of gravitation. Okay. So how is the video and how is your study? I am expecting that you are doing well, you are understanding well. So in this topic we are going to discuss about the universal law of gravitation. So in that, first let us discuss about gravitational force. And here before that, if you like the video, please like the video and share the video, and if you subscribe the video, then you will get the notifications and all those things, and immediately after uploading the videos you will get the videos directly to your mobile or to the desktop of your system. Okay, YouTube videos you will be getting directly. Okay, let us start the topic. Let us dig into the topic now. So first, gravitational force. What is gravitational force actually? What is gravitational force? You think about it and tell me. Think about it. So it is nothing but, see here, Earth is attracting the particles coming from the top actually. So it is a force of attraction between any two bodies due to their mass. That's a attraction between two bodies. So Earth is there, so the bodies are falling onto the Earth. This is due to the attraction actually between the two bodies because of their masses. Body and Earth, so gravitational force is in between them. Due to the gravitational force, the bodies are falling to the Earth. What are the properties of gravitational force? So this is actually Newton's third law. When two bodies are attracting each other, so there will be an action and a reaction pair. The forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Okay. So gravitational force between two bodies is independent of the nature of the medium. So the between the whatever may be the air is there or some other material is there, it doesn't affect the gravitational force. And gravitational force is negligible in case of lighter bodies. That's why the objects on the Earth will be falling towards the Earth, because their mass is comparatively negligible to the mass of the Earth. So that's why its acceleration is more and Earth's acceleration is very less. That is the reason. So we can neglect gravitational force in that case, due to the lighter bodies on the heavier bodies actually. So appreciable in case of massive bodies like stars and planets. Okay, gravitational force is appreciable in case of massive bodies like stars and planets. It is the weakest force among all the forces, but the longest range also, has the longest range. This is also known as central force actually. It is a conservative force in nature. It is communicated through gravitons. It is mass dependent and charge independent. This will not depend on charge, and this will only dependent on mass. Okay. Let us see some questions based on that. So gravitational force is force of attraction between the Earth and any other body, force of repulsion between the Earth and any other body. It is a strongest force. It is a short range force. So it is a short range force is wrong. It's wrong. And a strongest force, no, it's a weakest force actually. It's not repulsion, it is only attraction between the Earth and any other body. So this is the right answer. So let us check. The force of attraction between the Earth and any other body of this universe is known as force of gravity or gravitational force. So that's what we discussed initially. Let us see another question. Which of the following is a property of gravitational force? It is the weakest of all the forces. It has longest range. It is mass dependent. All the above. So all these points Gravitational force dependent on it is all the properties, longest range, weak force, mass dependent also. So all of the above. Okay. Appreciable in case of massive bodies, and weakest force, mass dependent, charge independent, conservative in nature. Only some of them only considered here. So all these three are the answer. Okay. Universal law of gravitation. So basic idea for universal law of gravitation. So Newton actually observed moon is revolving around the earth in circular orbit of radius rm, radius of the moon, basically orbital radius of the moon around the earth actually. Okay, so moon is subject to a centripetal acceleration due to Earth's gravity. So A is equal to v square by r, centripetal acceleration. So am is equal to v square by rm. V is nothing but 2 pi rm by the distance travelled by time period of the moon. So 2 pi rm by t whole square by rm. So if we substitute all these values, so 4 pi square rm by t square. If we substitute rm and t, radius of the moon means orbital radius of the moon also we know, not radius of the moon. Okay, v is orbital speed of the moon, t is time period of the moon, 27.3 days, and radius of moon orbit is 3.84 into 10 to the power of 8 meters. So if we substitute all these values, we will get am is equal to 2.7 divided by 1000 meters per second square. That is 0.0027 meter per second. Very small value. Okay. Very much less than acceleration due to gravity on Earth's surface g. So it is clearly shows that the force of Earth's gravity decreases with distance from Earth. Okay. Newton assumed that this force changes inversely as square of the distance and calculated the ratio of acceleration due to gravity of the Earth and the moon. Okay, am is rm to the power of minus 2 and g is proportional to re to the power of minus 2. G by am is equal to rm square by re square, that's value is 3600. So g value substitute, if we substitute g value and am value, we will get around closely to this value. This leads to universal law of gravitation actually. Okay, this value is in excellent agreement with the value of g and am. Universal law of gravitation. Let's consider two objects, two masses. Okay, mass m1 and mass m2. Mass of A is m1 and mass of B is m2. Okay, and the distance between them is r. Okay, then there exists a force of attraction. So F, action, reaction pair. So they are equal and opposite, but this acts on this acts on this. They don't act on the same body. We know, all of us know that Newton's third law. They are paired, but they will act on different objects or different bodies. This force is called gravitational force. Okay. This force is directly proportional to the product of the masses. F is proportional to m1, m2 product. Then F is proportional to inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So combiningly, if we combine these two equations, F is proportional to m1, m2 by r square. Okay. So if we see the statement, every particle of matter attracts every other particle of matter with a force which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. If we introduce a constant g, then we can write this as F is equal to g into m1 m2 by r square. So g is the constant of proportionality known as universal gravitational constant. Universal means it doesn't depend on space and time, basically. Any place, anywhere in the universe, the value will be constant. Okay. Let us see some questions here. You give the answer. Gravitational force is directly proportional to the product of masses. All of you know that. That is the first one is the answer. F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. So m1 m2 is nothing but product. So gravitational force is mathematically given as F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. So C is the option. And in the Newton's law of gravitation, G is called as universal gravitational constant. All of you know, just now listen. A is the answer. Acceleration due to gravity, variable, any constant, all are wrong. Okay. G is constant of proportionality known as universal gravitational constant. Universal gravitational constant, the value with the help of Cavendish experiment, we can determine the value of G. F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. So G is equal to F into r square by m1 m2. So F into r square by m1 m2. So this is, so let us consider m1 m2 and r is equal to 1. All are unit. Then G is equal to F directly. So universal gravitational constant is numerically equal to the force of attraction between two unit masses placed at unit distance apart. Okay, just remember this. And SI unit of G is Newton meter square by kg square, and CGS unit of G is dyne centimeter square. Force unit is Newton meter square, kg is mass. Kg is the unit for mass. So dyne is the CGS unit of force, and centimeter is the unit of distance, and gram is the unit of mass. So dyne centimeter square by gram square. Dimensions of G, how to calculate? See, F is Fr square by m1 m2. F value is mlt minus 2. mlt minus 2. R square means m0 L square T0. m1 m2 m square L0 T0. So m1 m minus 1, this will become L1 L cube, it will become T minus 2, like the same only. So the same value will come. So m to the power of minus 1, L cube, T to the power of minus 2. That is the dimension of G. Value of G is 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. So in dynes also you can write. Universal gravitational constant is numerically equal to what? Force of attraction between unit masses placed at unit distance. Any masses, it's wrong, placed at a unit distance. Any masses placed at distance, no. Force of attraction between any masses at any distance is wrong. So first option is the correct option. Okay. Dimension of gravitational constant is m minus 1 L cube T minus 2. So C is the option. Already we derived. So the value of gravitational constant in SI unit is, just now we discussed, so 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. This B is the option. So vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. It's a simple only, but this will be useful in writing, because in charges also we will deal with the same Coulomb's law of attraction or Coulomb's law of repulsion between the two charges. So R is the value, distance between them. R12 is 1 to 2 is the direction. R21 is 2 to 1 is the direction. So F21, F12. So F12 is from 1 to 2 and F21 is 2 to 1. R21 is also 2 to 1. R12 is also 1 to 2. Okay. So F21 you can write in the same direction. Gm1 m2 by r square, R21 unit vector in the direction of the force. So both are in the same direction, so you can write like this. Similarly, you can write for F12 also. But R12 and R21 are opposite, see here. So R12 is equal to minus R21. And also F12 is also opposite to F21. So gravitational force on a point mass due to the number of other point masses. So individually we will write the equation for each and every one. Then vectorially we can add all the forces. Just simple only. Finding the resultant. That's all, nothing else. M1 is the given point mass. M2, M3, M4, M5 and M6 are other point masses around M1. So R12, R13, R14, R15 and R16 are the unit position vectors of masses M2, M3, M4, M5 and M6 respectively from M1. Then gravitational force on M1 due to M2 is equal to F12 is Gm1 M2 by R12 square by unit multiplied with R12 is the unit vector. Similarly, we can write F13 and F14, F15, F16. So all of them are vector equations. So you have to add them vectorially. That means resultant gravitational force on M1. Vectorially we can add 3 equal masses of m kg each are fixed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle ABC. What is the force acting on a mass 2m placed at the centroid O of the triangle? So see here, from the centroid, equilateral triangle, so from the centroid all are in equal distances. So if 3 forces are equal and forms a triangle, closed triangle, then they are in equilibrium. So 0 is the answer. See here. See this is attracting in this direction, this is attracting in this direction, this is attracting in this direction, but all are equal. So 120 degrees is, so Lami's theorem you can apply at this point. See, this is in this direction, this is in this direction, this is in this direction, so all are equal, and 120 is the angles are equal and distances are equal. So how the forces are equal? Because of these distances are same. This distance, because this is equilateral triangle and centroid is at this position. Okay. Or you can write the vector notation also. So OA you can write in XY axis, you can take, and CO also you can write. This is angle is 30 degrees because 120, so 90, 30. Similarly you can write OC also and OB also. Okay. This is in the negative direction, negative x direction, negative y direction. So this is also 30 degrees only. So cos 30, sin 30. J is sin 30. So okay, here if you add these three, see here, this is minus, this is plus. So these two will cancel. And this is sin 30, minus, minus. So half in plus half, it will become 1. So G into 2m square. This is already positive value, this is negative value, so become 0. Gravitational force by extended objects. You cannot apply for extended objects. Anyhow, you have to use integral methods. Anyhow, that is not there in our syllabus, so we may not be covering that. But two shell theorems are there. We should be careful. We should be interested in those two theorems. Limitations of universal law of gravitation. Universal law of gravitation can be applied to calculate gravitational force between point mass or point-like masses. So universal law of gravitation cannot be applied in its original form to calculate gravitational force between extended objects and point masses. To apply universal law of gravitation for extended objects, the integration technique is to be applied. You just remember that. But anyhow, we are not going to deal those things. Anyhow, two theorems are there, shell theorems. For certain extended objects like spherical shells, shell theorems make calculation of gravitational force very simple. Theorem 1. The force of attraction between a hollow spherical shell of uniform density and a point mass situated outside the shell behaves as if the entire mass of the shell is concentrated at its center. See, here one shell is there. So what happened is, so you can simply you can treat both the things. So anyhow, I am not showing this. What I am interested is in theorem 2, the force of attraction due to a hollow spherical shell of uniform density on a point mass situated inside is 0. Because this theorem can be explained qualitatively as follows. The point mass inside the shell is attracted by different regions of the shell in different directions. So because of symmetry of the shell, each force has an equal and opposite force which cancel each other. So you just remember these two theorems. Hollow spherical shell, inside the shell force of gravity is 0. Outside the hollow shell is, a hollow shell will act like a point mass. That's all, nothing else is there. Thus the resultant force is 0 in this case. See, a small bead of mass 10 grams is placed at a distance of 20 centimeters from the center of a football of mass 200 grams and radius 30 centimeters. Means you are putting this bead inside the shell. So the gravitational force between the ball and bead is 0. That's all. What happened here? 10 grams is placed at a distance 20 centimeters from the center of a football of mass and radius 30 centimeters. See, football is this and radius is 30 centimeters and you are keeping at a distance of 20 centimeters means, see, this option is not there, it is wrong. So it is 0, you just remember 0. A man of mass 50 kg is standing inside a death well of radius 2 meters. If density of the material of the death well is 2 into 10 to the power of 3 kg per meter cube, then the force of attraction between the death well and the man in Newton is, see, standing inside a death well, so that is shell, so naturally it is 0. Okay. The gravitational constant. You can determine the G value using the Cavendish experiment. See, here two masses are there. So in the opposite side you are going to keep this mass here, this mass here. Cavendish experiment, and another this side also you are going to keep the opposite directions. See here, what happens is, forget about these two now. Initially if it is there, okay, this is bigger mass, this is bigger mass, this is smaller mass, this is smaller mass. So even though this is pulling this is also pulling, so this will be moving in this direction. This is also pulling, this is also pulling, but this is pulling this in this direction. So this twisted actually, see, twist, it will be twisted actually. Okay. So what is the torque is the only thing acting between a big sphere and neighboring small sphere. Big sphere and neighboring small sphere. Okay. So due to this torque, the suspended wire gets twisted until the restoring torque of the wire equals the gravitational torque. So restoring torque is C theta. C is restoring couple per unit twist and theta is the angle of twist. If d is the separation between big and small balls having masses m and m, gravitational force is gmm by d square. Force into perpendicular distance, L is the length of the bar AB, then torque arising out of F is multiplied by L. Then the deflecting gravitational torque is F into L. So gmm by d square into L. This is equal to C theta. At equilibrium, this is equal to the restoring torque, and hence this is equal to C theta. So with this you can calculate the value of G. all are known. Okay, so sec g theta, and knowing the value of other quantities, g can be calculated. The value came to this value actually. The value of gravitational constant is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. First one is the answer. Characteristics of gravitational law. F is equal to g into m1 m2 by r square. So what are the characteristics we can say? The gravitational force is independent of the intervening medium. Second one is the gravitational force is a conservative force, and the force exerted by the first particle on the second is exactly equal and opposite to the force exerted by the second particle on the first. The gravitational forces between two particles act along the line joining the two particles, and they form an action-reaction pair. So gravitational force doesn't depend on intervening medium. Product of masses, it depends. Square of the distance between them depends. None of the above. So this is the answer. Intervening medium is the answer. So thank you. So with this topic is finished. In the next video we will see the other topics in the gravitation, and this topic is important for NCERT 11th board exam also, and NEET exam also, and JEE mains. Every time they are asking the questions from this topic. Don't leave this topic. Once again revise. Anyhow, I will discuss some more problems also. Okay, thank you very much. If you like the video, please share the video to the friends, and give a like to the video, and subscribe to the video also. Okay, thank you very much. Bye, see you.